because
It's
this is
good,
my new
Prabhu.
earphones. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
Thank you so much, Karti Prabhu. All glories to
I have to
Shri
read the Bhagavatam verses, Prabhu.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, brother, and pranam to all of you.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Srila
Pranam.
Prabhu.
Thank you for joining our Vishnu Prabhupada. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. शृण्वतां स्वकतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदि अन्तः स्थितो हि अबद्धानि विदुह्नोति सुहृत्सताम्. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Just a minute, why it's showing small. Yeah. How do you zoom in this? Yeah. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतः सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in the classes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for allowing me, giving me the opportunity to read. Thank you so much for hosting this session. Hare Krishna. Is it okay if I can continue to read
Yes,
the
Prabhu.
Bhagavatam verses as well? Okay, my voice is all audible, right? It's not.
Yes, Prabhu, it's good.
Okay. What tune is this?
This is the longer one.
Which one? I don't know.
The
Longer one
first
means
line
what?
is hard, but the other one is easier.
No,
Because
but
this
which tune, Prabhu?
it seems like this doesn't fit the tune, this nirikshaya. It's vyavahita pritana mukham niriksha. Oh, it's like that. Vyavahita pritana mukham niriksha svajana vadad vimukhasya dosha buddhya kumati maharadatma vidyayayas charanarati paramasya tasya mestu.
Vyavahita prithana mukham nirikshya swajhanavadhat vimukshasya dosha buddhya kumatim aharad atma vidyayas charanaratihi paramasya tasya mestu.
Haribo. Yes, Prabhu, very nice.
Vyavahita, standing at a distance. Pritana, soldiers. Mukham, faces. Niriksha, by looking upon. Swajana, kinsmen. Vadhat, from the act of killing. Vimukhasya, one who is reluctant. Dosha buddhya, by polluted intelligence. Pumatin, poor fund of knowledge. Aharat, eradicated. Atma vidyaya, by transcendental knowledge. Yaha, the person. Charana, feet. Ratihi, attraction. Paramasya, of the Supreme. Tasya, for him. May, my. Vastu, let that be. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Purport. The kings and the commanders were to stand in front of the fighting soldiers. That was the system of actual fighting. The kings and commanders were not so-called presidents or ministers of defense as they are today. They would not stay home while the poor soldiers or mercenaries were fighting face to face. This may be the regulation of modern democracy, but when actual monarchy was prevailing, the monarchs were not cowards elected without consideration of qualification. As it was evident from the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the executive heads like Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, Duryodhana, etc., of both parties were not sleeping, but all of them were actual participants in the fighting which was selected to be executed at a place away from the civil residential quarters. This means that the innocent citizens were immune from all effects of fighting between the rival royal parties. The citizens had no business to see what was going to happen after such fighting. They were to pay 1/4 of the income to the ruler, whether he be Arjuna or Duryodhana. All the commanders of the parties on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were standing face to face, and Arjuna saw them with great compassion and lamented that he was to kill his kinsmen on the battlefield for the sake of the empire. He was not at all afraid of the giant military flanks presented by Duryodhana, but as a merciful devotee of the Lord, renunciation of worldly things was natural to him. And thus he decided not to fight for worldly possessions. But this was due to a poor fund of knowledge, and therefore it is said here that his intelligence became polluted. His intelligence could not be polluted at any time because he was a devotee and a constant companion of the Lord, as is clear in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Apparently, Arjuna's intelligence became polluted because otherwise there would not have been a chance to deliver the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for the good of all polluted conditioned souls engaged in material bondage by the conception of the false material body. The Bhagavad Gita was delivered to the conditioned souls of the world to deliver them from the wrong conception of identifying the body with the soul and to re-establish the soul's eternal relation with the Supreme Lord. Atma Vidya, or transcendental knowledge of himself, was primarily spoken by the Lord for the benefit of all concerned in all parts of the universe. Text 37. Which chapter? 1-9.
Yes, Prabhu.
Same tune, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Swanigamam apahaya matprachijanam ratham adhikartum avapluto ritastaha dhritarthacharano vyayachalagur haririvahantum ibaham budhotariyaha swanigamam sorry, own truthfulness, apahaya, for nullifying, mat pratigyam, my own promise, ritam, factual, adhi, more, kartum, for doing it, avaplutaha, getting down, rathastaha, from the chariot, dritha, taking up, ratha, chariot, charanaha, wheel, abhyayat, went hurriedly, hurriedly, kaladibho, trampling the earth, harihi, lion, iva, like, antum, to kill, ibham, elephant, gatha, leaving aside, utariyaha, covering cloth. Translation. Fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just like a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. Purport. The Battle of Kurukshetra was fought on military principles, but at the same time in a sporting spirit, like a friend fights with another friend. Duryodhana criticized Bhishma Deva, alleging that he was reluctant to kill Arjuna because of paternal affection. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate insults on the principle of fighting. Bhishma Dev therefore promised that the next day he would kill all 5 Pandavas with a special weapon made for the purpose. Duryodhana was satisfied, and he kept the arrows with him to be delivered the next day during the fighting. By tricks, Arjuna took the arrows from Duryodhana, and Bhishma Dev could understand that this was the trick of Lord Krishna. So he took a vow that the next day Krishna would have to take up weapons himself, otherwise his friend Arjuna would die. So in the next day's fighting, Bhishma Dev fought so violently that both Arjuna and Krishna were in trouble. Arjuna was almost defeated. The situation was so tense that he was about to be killed by Bhishma Deva the very next moment. At that time, Lord Krishna wanted to please his devotee Bhishma by keeping his promise, which was more important than his own. Seemingly, he broke his own promise. He promised before the beginning of battle of the Kurukshetra that he would remain without weapons and would not use his strength for either of the parties. But to protect Arjuna, he got down from the chariot, took up the wheel of the chariot, and hurriedly rushed at Bhishma Deva in an angry mood, like a lion goes to kill an elephant. He dropped his covering cloth on the way, and out of great anger did he not know that he dropped it. Bhishma Deva at once gave up his weapons and stood to be killed by Krishna, his beloved Lord. The fighting of the day was thus ended at that very moment, and Arjuna was saved. Of course, there was no possibility of Arjuna's death because the Lord himself was on the chariot. But because Bhishma Deva wanted to see Lord Krishna take up some weapon to save his friend, the Lord created this situation, making Arjuna's death imminent. He stood before Bhishma Deva to show him that his promise was fulfilled and that he had taken up the wheel. Haripur. Text 38. Sita Vishiddhahato Vishrinadamshaha Shataja Paripluta Atata me Prashabham Abhishashara Madhvadarattam Sabhavatu me Bhagavan Gatir Mukundaha. Sorry for the very bad recitation. Shita, sharp, Vishikha arrows, Hataha wounded by Vishrina Tamshaha, scattered shield, Shataja by wounds, Pariplutaha, smeared with blood, Atayinaha, the great aggressor, my Prashabham in an angry mood, Avishashara, begin to move on, Mat Vadha Artham, for the purpose of killing me, Shaha, he, Bhavatu, let him become, my Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Gadihi, destination, Mukundaha, one who awards salvation. Translation, may he, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me, as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. Purport. The dealings of Lord Krishna and Bhishma Deva on the battlefield of Kurukshetra are interesting because the activities of Lord Sri Krishna appear to be partial to Arjuna at enmity with Bhishma Deva. But factually, all this was especially meant to show special favor to Bhishma Deva, a great devotee of the Lord. The astounding feature of such dealings is that a devotee can please the Lord by playing the part of an enemy. The Lord, being absolute, can accept service from his pure devotee even in the garb of an enemy. The Supreme Lord cannot have any enemy, nor can a so-called enemy harm him, because he is Ajita or unconquerable. But still he takes pleasure when his pure devotee beats him like an enemy or rebukes him from a superior position, although no one can be superior to the Lord. These are some of the transcendental reciprocatory dealings of the devotee with the Lord. And those who have no information of pure devotional service cannot penetrate into the mystery of such dealings. Bhishmadev played the part of a valiant warrior, and he purposely pierced the body of the Lord so that to the common eyes it appeared that the Lord was wounded. But factually, all this was to bewilder the non-devotees. The all-spiritual body cannot be wounded, and a devotee cannot become the enemy of the Lord. Had it been so, then Bhishmadev would not have desired to have the very same Lord as the ultimate destination of his life. Had Bhishmadev been an enemy of the Lord, he could have annihilated him without even moving. There was no need to come before Bhishmadev with blood and wounds, but he did so because the warrior devotee wanted to see the transcendental beauty of the Lord decorated with wounds created by a pure devotee. This is a way of exchanging transcendental rasas or relations between the Lord and the servitor. By such dealings, both the Lord and the devotee become glorified in their respectful positions. The Lord was so angry that Arjuna checked him when he was moving towards Bhishma Deva. But in spite of Arjuna's checking, he proceeded towards Bhishma Deva as a lover goes to a lover, without caring for hindrances. Apparently, his determination was to kill Bhishma Deva, but factually, it was to please him as a great devotee of the Lord. The Lord is undoubtedly the deliverer of all conditioned souls. The impersonalist desires salvation from him, and he always awards them according to their aspiration. But here Bhishma Deva aspires to see the Lord in his personal feature. All pure devotees aspire for this. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for allowing me to participate and read. Please forgive me for my
Thank you so much,
offenses.
Prabhu, for
Thank you
reading.
so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay, text number 39. Vijaya Ratha Kutumba Attatotre Drita Hayarasmini Tachriye Kshaniye Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mumurshor Yammiha Niriksha Hata Gata Swarupam. Vijaya Arjuna Ratha Chariot Kutumba object of protection at all risk Attatotre with a whip in the right hand. Dritahaya, controlling the horses. Rashmini, ropes. Tachriya, beautifully standing. Ikshaniye, to look at. Bhagavati, under the person of Godhead. Ratiyastu, let my attraction be there. Mumur shoho, one who is about to die, yam, unto whom, iha, in this world, niriksha, by looking on, hataha, those who died, gataha, attained, svarupam, original form. Translation. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord constantly sees the presence of the Lord within himself because of being transcendentally related by loving service. Such a pure devotee cannot forget the Lord for a moment. This is called trance. The mystic yogi tries to concentrate upon the supersoul by controlling the senses from all other engagements, and thus he ultimately attains samadhi. A devotee more easily attains samadhi or a trance by constantly remembering the Lord's personal feature along with his holy name, fame, and pastimes, etc. Therefore, the concentration of the mystic yogi and that of the devotee are not on the same level. The concentration of the mystic is something mechanical, whereas that of pure devotee is natural, in pure love and spontaneous affection. Bhishma Deva was a pure devotee, and as a military marshal, he constantly remembered the battlefield feature of the Lord as Parthasarathi, the chariot driver of Arjuna. Therefore, the Lord's pastime as Parthasarathi is also eternal. All the pastimes of the Lord, beginning from his birth at the prison house of Kamsa, up to the Maushala Lila at the end, all move one after another in all the universes. Just as the clock hand moves from one point to another, and in such pastimes his associates like Pandavas and Bhishma are constantly eternal companions. So Bhishma Dev never forgot the beautiful feature of the Lord as Parthasarathi, which even Arjuna could not see. Arjuna was behind the beautiful Parthasarathi, while Bhishma Dev was just in front of the Lord. As far as the military feature of the Lord is concerned, Bhishma Dev observed this with more relish than Arjuna. All the soldiers and persons on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual form, like the Lord after their death, because by the causeless mercy of the Lord they were all able to see him face to face on that occasion. The conditioned souls rotating in the evolutionary cycle from the aquatics up to the form of Brahma are all in the form of Maya, or the form of obtained by one's own actions and awarded by material nature. The material forms of the conditioned souls are all foreign dresses, and when the conditioned soul becomes liberated from the clutches of material energy, he attains his original form. The impersonalist wants to attain the impersonal and Brahman effulgence of the Lord, but that is not at all congenial. But that is not at all congenial to the living sparks, parts and parcels of the Lord. Therefore, the impersonalists again fall down and get material forms, which are all false to the spirit soul. A spiritual form like the Lord's, either two-handed or four-handed, is attained by the devotees of the Lord either in the Vaikunthas or in the Goloka planets, according to the original nature of the soul. This form, which is 100% spiritual, is the Svarupa of the living being. And all the living beings who participated on the battlefield of Kurukshetra on both sides attained their Svarupa, as confirmed by Bhishma Deva. So Lord Sri Krishna was not only merciful to the Pandavas, but he was also merciful to the other parties, because all of them attained the same result. Bhishma Dev wanted the same facility also, and that was his prayer to the Lord. Although his position as an associate of the Lord is assured in all circumstances, the conclusion is that whoever dies looking on the personhood of Godhead within or without attains his Svarupa, which is the highest perfection of life. Text number 40. Lalitagati vilasavalguhasa pranaya nirikshana kalpito rumana krita manukrita vatya unmadandaha prakritim magan kila yasya gopavadva. Lalita attractive, gati movements, vilasa fascinating acts, valguhasa sweet smiling, pranaya loving, nirikshana looking on, kalpita mentality, urumanaha highly glorified, krita manu krita vatya in the act of copying the movements, unmadandaha gone mad in ecstasy, prakritim characteristics, agan underwent, kila certainly, Yasya whose, Gopavadva, the cowherd damsels. Translation. Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Sri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajadama, the gopis. The damsels imitated the characteristic movement of the Lord after his disappearance from the rasa dance. Purport. By intense ecstasy of loving service, the damsels of Rajabhumi attained equality oneness with the Lord by dancing with him on an equal level, embracing him in nuptial love, smiling at him in joke, and looking at him with a loving attitude. The relation of the Lord with Arjuna is undoubtedly praiseworthy by devotees like Bhishma Deva, but the relation of the gopis with the Lord is still more praiseworthy because of their still more purified loving service. By the grace of the Lord, Arjuna was fortunate enough to have the fraternal service of the Lord as a chariot driver, but the Lord did not award Arjuna with equal strength. The gopis, however, practically became one with the Lord by attainment of equal footing with the Lord. Bhishma's aspiration to remember the gopis is to pray to have their mercy also at the last stage of his life. The Lord is satisfied more when his pure devotees are glorified, and therefore Bhishma Dev was not only glorified. Therefore Bhishma Dev has not only glorified the acts of Arjuna, his immediate object of attraction, but also he has remembered the gopis who are endowed with unrivaled opportunities by rendering loving service to the Lord. The gopis' equality with the Lord should never be misunderstood to be like the Sayuja liberation of the impersonalists. The equality is one of the perfect ecstasy, where the differential conception is completely eradicated, for the interest of the lover and the beloved become identical. Text number 41. Oh, yes, Amit Prabhu, you can read.
Thank you, Prabhu. Munigana Nripavarya Sankulenatah Sadasi Yudhishthira Rajasuya Esham Arhanam Upapeda Ikshanayo Mama Drishi Gochara Esha Aviratma Munigana, the great learned sages, Nripavarya, the great ruling kings, Sankule is in the great assembly of Antah Sadasi conference, Yudhishthira, Emperor Yudhishthir, Rajasuya, a royal performer of sacrifice, Isham of all the great elites, Arhanam, respectful worship, Upapeda, received, Ikshaniyaha, the object of attraction, Mama, my, Drishi, sight, Gocharaha, within the view of Eshaha, Avi, personally present, Atma, the soul. Translation and purport by His Divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: at the Rajasuya Yajna sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthir, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders, and in the great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was worshipped by and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remembered the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. Prabhu, please scroll down. Purport: after gaining victory in the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, the emperor of the world, performed the Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. The emperor in those days, upon his ascendance to the throne, would send a challenge horse all over the world to declare his supremacy, and any ruling prince or king was at liberty to accept the challenge and express his tacit willingness either to obey or to disobey the supremacy of the particular emperor. One who accepts the challenge has to fight with the emperor and establish his own supremacy by victory. The defeated challenger would have to sacrifice his life, making a place for another king or ruler. So Maharaj Yudhishthira also dispatched such challenging horses all over the world, and every ruling prince and king all over the world accepted Maharaj Yudhishthir's leadership as the emperor of the world. After this, all rulers of the world under the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthir were invited to participate in the great sacrificial ceremony of the Rajasuya. Such performances require hundreds of millions of dollars, and it was not an easy job for a petty king. Such a sacrificial ceremony, being too expensive and also difficult to perform under present circumstances, is now impossible in the age of Kali. Nor can anyone secure the required expert priesthood to take charge of the ceremony. So, after being invited, all the kings and great learned sages of the world assembled in the capital of Maharaj Yudhishthira. The learned society, including the great philosophers, religionists, physicians, scientists, and all great sages, was invited. This is to say, the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas were the topmost leading men in society, and they were all invited to participate in the assembly. The Vaishyas and Shudras were unimportant elements in society, and they are not mentioned herein. Due to the change of social activities in the modern age, the importance of men has also changed in terms of occupational positions. So, in that great assembly, Lord Shri Krishna was cynosure of the neighboring eyes. Prabhu, what is cynosure?
What, Prabhu? This what?
Prabhu, cynosure, first line after Lord Shri Krishna was cynosure of the neighbor.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Meaning of that? A person or thing that is the center of attention. Oh, okay. So nice vocabulary. Okay. Everyone wanted to see Lord Krishna, and everyone wanted to pay his humble respects to the Lord. Bhishma Deva remembered all this and were glad his actual formal presence. So to meditate on the Supreme Lord is to meditate on the activities, form, pastimes, name, and fame of the Lord. That is easier than what is imagined as meditation on the impersonal feature of the Supreme. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated, BG 12.5, that to meditate upon the impersonal feature of the Supreme is very difficult. It is practically no meditation or simply a waste of time because very seldom is the desired result obtained. The devotees, however, meditate upon the Lord's factual form and pastimes, and therefore the Lord is easily approachable by the devotees. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita, BG 12.9. The Lord is non different from his transcendental activities. It is indicated also in the shloka that Lord Sri Krishna, while actually present before the human society, especially in connection with the battle of Kurukshetra, was accepted as the great personality of the time, although he might not have been recognized as supreme personality of Godhead. The propaganda that a very great man is worshipped as God after his death is misleading because a man after his death cannot be made into God, nor can the personality of Godhead be a human being even even when he is personally present. Both ideas are misconceptions. The idea of anthropomorphism cannot be applicable in the case of Lord Krishna. text 42. Tam imam aham ajam. Prabhu, I don't know the tune actually. Can I just read or would you tell the tune?
Yes. Prabhu, it's tam iham aham ajam sarira bhajam ridi ridi dishtitam atma kalpitanam pratitrisham iva naikadar. What is this word? Naikadar kam ekam samadhikatosmi viduta bedamoha. Like
Okay,
that.
Prabhu, should I read again?
You can if you want.
Okay. Tam imam aham ajam sarura bhajam ridi ridi dhishtitam atma kalpitanam pratidrisham iva naika dharakam ekam samadhigatosmi vidhuta bhedamoha.
Very nice.
Okay. Tam, that personality of Godhead, imam, now present before me, aham, I, ajam, the unborn, sarva bhajam, of the conditioned soul, hridi, in the heart, hridi, in the heart, dishtitam, situated, atma, the super soul, kalpitanam, of the speculators, pradishram, in every direction, eva, like, na, ekadha, not one, arkam, the sun, ekam, one only, samadhi gataha asmi, I have undergone trance in meditation, vidhut, being forced, freed from, bheda moha, misconception of duality. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Now I can meditate upon that one Lord Sri Krishna now present before me and with full concentration because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna is the only absolute supreme personality of Godhead, but he has expanded himself into his multiplenary portions by his inconceivable energy. The conception of duality is due to ignorance of his inconceivable energy. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, BG 9.11, that only the foolish take him to be a mere human being. Such foolish men are not aware of his inconceivable energies. By his inconceivable energy, he is present in everyone's heart, as the sun is present before everyone all over the world. The Paramatma feature of the Lord is an expansion of his plenary portions. He expands himself as Paramatma in everyone's heart by his inconceivable energy and also expands himself as the glowing effulgence of Brahma Jyoti by expansion of his personal glow. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyoti is his personal glow. Therefore, there is no difference between him and his personal glow Brahma Jyoti or his plenary portions as Paramatma. Less intelligent persons who are not aware of this fact consider Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma to be different from Lord Krishna. Uh, this misconception of duality is completely removed from the mind of Bhishma Dev, and he is now satisfied that it is Lord Shri Krishna uh, who is all in everything. This enlightenment is attained by the great Mahatmas or devotees, as it's stated in the Bhagavad Gita, BG 7.19, that Vasudeva is all in everything, and there is no existence of anything without Vasudeva. Vasudeva or Lord Shri Krishna is the original supreme person, as now confirmed by a Mahajan, and therefore both the neophytes and the pure devotees must try to follow in his footsteps. That is the way of devotional line. The worshipable object of Bhishma Deva is Lord Shri Krishna as Partha Sarathi, and that of the gopis is the same Krishna in Vrindavan as the most attractive Shyam Sundar. Sometimes less intelligent scholars make a mistake and think that Krishna of Vrindavan and that of Battle of Kurukshetra are different personalities. But for Bhishma Deva, the misconception is completely removed. Even the impersonalist's object of destination is Krishna, as the impersonal Jyoti, and the yogi's destination of Paramatma is also Krishna. Krishna is both Brahma Jyoti and localized Paramatma. But in Brahma Jyoti or Paramatma, there is no Krishna or sweet relations with Krishna. In his personal feature, Krishna is both Partha Sarathi and Shyam Sundar of Vrindavan, but in his impersonal feature, he is neither in the Brahma Jyoti nor in the Paramatma. Great Mahatmas like Bhishma Deva realize all these different features of Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore they worship Lord Krishna, knowing him as the origin of all features. Suta Uvacha Krishna evam Bhagavati Mano Vagdrishti Vrittibhi Atmanya Atmanam Aveshya Sonatah Swash Uparamat. Suta Vacha. Suta Goswami said, Krishna, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, evam only Bhagavati unto him, Manah mind, Vak speech, Drishti sight, Vritibhi activities, Atmani unto the super soul, Atmanam the living being, Aveshya having merged in, Saha he, Antah 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 Shvasaha inhaling, Uparamat became silent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sutta Goswami said, thus Bhishma Deva merged himself in the Super Soul, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions, and thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. Purport. The stage attained by Bhishma Deva while quitting his material body is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because he merged his self into thinking of the Lord and his mind into remembering his different activities. He chanted the glories of the Lord, and by his sight he began to see the Lord personally present before him, and thus all his activities became concentrated upon the Lord without deviation. This is the highest stage of perfection, and it is possible for everyone to attain this stage by practice of devotional service. The devotional service of the Lord consists of 9 principles of service activities, and they are 1. Hearing, 2. Chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshipping, praying, executing the orders, fraternizing, and fully surrendering. Any one of them or all of them are equally competent to award the desired result, but they require to be practiced persistently under the guidance of an expert devotee of the Lord. The first item, hearing, is the most important item of all, and therefore hearing of the Bhagavad Gita and later on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is essential for the serious candidate who wants to attain the stage of Bhishma Deva at the end. The unique situation at Bhishma Dev's time of death can be attained even though Lord Krishna may not be personally present. His words of the Bhagavad Gita or those of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are identical with the Lord. They are sound interactions of the Lord, and one can fully utilize them to be entitled to attain the stage of Sri Bhishma Dev, who was one of the 8 Vasus. Every man or animal must die at a Prabhu, please scroll down. Must die at a certain stage of life. But one who dies like Bhishma Dev attains perfection, and one who dies forced by the laws of nature dies like an animal. That is the difference between a man and an animal, and the human form of life is especially meant for dying like Bhishma Dev.
Ribo, 2 more verses, I think.
Kiro. Sampadyamanam Ajnaya Bhishmam Brahmani Nishkale Sarve Babhuvaste Tushnim Vayam Shiva Dinatyaye. Sampadyamanam, having merged into Ajnaya, after knowing this, Bhishmam, about Sri Bhishma Deva, Brahmani, into the Supreme Absolute, Nishkale, unlimited, Sarve, all present, Babhuvuh, Babhuvuh te, all of them became. Tushnim, silent, Vyamshi eva, like the birds, Dina atyaye, at the end of the day. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Knowing that Bhishma Deva had merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. Purport: to center into or to become merged into the ultimate unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute means to center the original home of the living being. The living beings are all component parts and parcels of the absolute personality of Godhead, and therefore they are eternally related with Him as the servitor and the served. The Lord is served by all his parts and parcels as the complete machine is served by its parts and parcels. Any part of the machine removed from the whole is no longer important. Similarly, any part and parcel of the absolute detached from the service of the Lord is useless. The living beings who are in the material world are all disintegrated parts and parcels of the supreme whole, and they are no longer as important as the original parts and parcels. There are, there, there are, however, more integrated living beings who are eternally liberated. The material energy of the Lord, called Durga Shakti, or the superintendent of the prison house, takes charge of the disintegrated parts and parcels, and thus they undergo a conditioned life under the laws of material nature. When the living being becomes conscious of this fact, he tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and thus the spiritual urge of the living being begins. The spiritual urge is called Brahma Jigyasa, or inquiry about Brahman. Principally, this Brahma Jigyasa is successful by knowledge, renunciation, and devotional service of the Lord. Jnana, or knowledge, means to know everything of Brahman, the Supreme. Renunciation means detachment of material affection, and devotional service is the revival of by practice of the original position of the living being. The successful living beings who are eligible to enter in the realm of the absolute are called jnanis, the yogis, and the bhaktas. The jnanis and yogis enter into the impersonal race of the supreme, but the bhaktas enter into the spiritual planets known as the Vaikunthas. In these spiritual planets, the Supreme Lord as Narayan predominates, and the healthy, unconditioned living beings live there by rendering loving service to the Lord in the capacity of servant, friend. Prabhu, can you scroll down? Servant, friend, parents, and fiancé. They are unconditioned living beings enjoy life in full freedom with the Lord, whereas the impersonalist jnanis and yogis enter into the impersonal glowing effulgence of the Vaikuntha planets. The Vaikuntha planets are all self-illuminating like the sun, and the rays of the Vaikuntha planets are called the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti is spread unlimitedly, and the material world is but a covered portion of an insignificant part of that same Brahma Jyoti. This covering is temporary, and therefore it is a sort of illusion. Bhishmadev, as a pure devotee of the Lord, entered the spiritual realm in one of the Vaikuntha planets, where the Lord, in his eternal form of Parthasarathi, predominates over the unconditioned living beings who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. The love and affection which binds the Lord and devotee are exhibited in the case of Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev never forgot the Lord in his transcendental feature as the Parthasarathi, and the Lord was present personally before Bhishmadev while he was passing to the transcendental world. That is the highest perfection of life.
Okay, one more verse.
Okay, Prabhu. Tatra dundubhayo nedur deva manavavaditah Shamshashuhu Shadhavo Rajnam Khatpetu Pushpavritshayaha. Tatra, therefore, Dundu Bhayaha, drums, Nedhu were sounded, Deva, the demigods from other planets, Manava, men from all countries, Vaditaha, beaten by, Shamshashuhu, praised, Sadhavah, honest, rag, Rajyam by the royal order, Khat from the sky, Petu began to fly, Pushpa Vritsyaha, shower of flowers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Therefore, both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and on honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. Bhishma Dev was respected both by the living human beings and the demigods. The human beings live on Earth and similar other planets in the Bhur and Bhuvar group of planets, but the demigods live in the Swar or heavenly planets, and all of them knew Bhishma Deva as a great warrior and devotee of the Lord. As a Mahajana or authority, he was on the level of Brahma or Narad or Shiva, although he was a human being. Qualification on a par, what it is qualification on a par with the great demigods is possible only on attainment of spiritual perfection. Thus, Bhishma Deva was known all over the universes, and during his time, interplanetary travel was affected by finer methods and the futile endeavors of mechanical spacecraft. Um, when the distant planets were informed of the passing away of Bhishma Dev, all the inhabitants of the upper planets as well as the of the earth dropped showers of flowers to show due respect to the departed great personality. This showering of flowers from heaven is a sign of recognition by great demigods, and it should never be compared to the decoration of the dead body. The body of Bhishma Dev lost its material effects due to being surcharged with spiritual realization, and thus the body was spiritualized as when iron becomes red hot when in contact with fire. The body of a fully self realized soul is not therefore accepted as material. Special ceremonies are observed for such spiritual bodies. The respect and recognition of Bhishma Dev are never to be imitated by artificial means, as it has become a fashion to observe the so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. According to authorized Shastras, such Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary man, however exalted he may be materially, is an offense to the Lord, because Jayanti is reserved for the day when the Lord appears on the earth. Bhishmadev was unique in his activities, and his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique.
Prabhu. Okay, now let's go to Sikshastakam prayers. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Prabhu, some things I didn't understand about two shlokas.
Oh yes, Prabhu. Which part?
The just before shloka tells na that Lord before I don't know, but Lord Krishna says that he is not the Brahma Jyoti or someone one more word is there. But previously it is told that he is the Brahma Jyoti and he and both are the same. But here it is told again in several few again lines that he is not the Brahma Jyoti or I don't remember what was that. Like in this, like I am little confused.
Like, is it in the purport?
Yes, Prabhu, it is in the purport. Just before to this verse or that or more one more before. I didn't ask like because like I should ask in the end, like as Karthi Prabhu told.
Yes, Prabhu.
Or should I ask after one shloka?
Yes, Prabhu, you can ask after one shloka.
Okay, Prabhu.
You hear this said Krishna is both Brahma Jyoti and localized Paramatma. But
Yes, Prabhu, here it is written.
in Brahma Jyoti or Paramatma, there is no Krishna or sweet relations with Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. So is Brahma Jyoti is Krishna and
I think
Paramatma
Prabhu,
without the sweet relations.
Prabhu, like 4 or 5 lines above, I think it is might be there. It is not there. Then it might be the same thing, I think. Oh, here it is written. Not aware of the fact, consider Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma to be different from Shri Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Here it is written, Brahmajyoti and Lord Shri Krishna are equal, and less intelligent persons consider different. Uh, and again, it is told now that this material world is being enlightened by a very insignificant part of the Brahmajyoti.
Yes,
So, is it like Lord in the form of the rays of sun is enlightening the whole world?
Yes, Prabhu. This Brahmajyoti is the Lord's form as the light.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu, let it be. I don't think. I'll now again like small doubts would be there, then I'll ask after the shloka. And if some big things would be there, then at the end.
Cheto
And Prabhu,
Darpanamad. Yes, Prabhu.
just last one. And this last slok, it was written that Bhishmadev was equal to Lord Shiva or Brahma. But Prabhu, actually, how like Lord Brahma is the one who like millions of years he was meditating, and then he made the universe. He was a pure devotee, and Lord Shiva is also. Uh, and okay, means in pure devotee there is no comparison. Like anyone by any like Bhishmadev on earth, he became pure devotee. Brahma, Shiva, he became. Is it Prabhu?
Oh, it was explained that Bhishma Dev is always pure devotee and it is following Krishna and his worshipful deities, the Partha Sada, the
Parthasara.
chariot driver. Yes, Prabhu. So he's always pure
Yes, Prabhu.
devotee, but he's in the material world because he likes this fighting Leela.
Yes, Prabhu. According to the nature of the consciousness of the soul, he takes birth, and he always has a chance to become a pure devotee by following Shastras.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, that's true also.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu, we can go on to Shikshashtakam.
Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha shreyah kairavachandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamridasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्नामकारि बहुडा निज सर्वशक्तेश तत्रार्पिता नियमितः सस्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशम् इहाजनीनानुरागः
ऋणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना मानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि.
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तयः
शयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदारुदया गिरा पुलकैर्निश्चितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति.
युगायतं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायतं शून्यायतं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे
अश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनष्टु मामदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विरातातुलं पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna or Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers worth talk about.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. At some or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly or in his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
हरि बोल श्री शिक्षाष्टकम की जय श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय
Hari Bol. Jai.
Bhujan
Jai.
Makaraya Dishravana Kirtan Tabutana Paya Krishna Pada Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God, and that is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. First offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or impersions to the Vedic version.
Fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Tenth
Tenth
offense.
offense, to not have. Okay, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Continue. Continue, Prabhu.
To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like these trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Pancha kalpatarubhya sindhubhya eva cha
Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam
Nitanam
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Stanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
And the
Nanda
Gaudiya
Kuchi Vaishnavinde ki jai, Shla Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Thank you so much for your association, my dear Prabhu.